Owen Reed had never expected his Tuesday to involve an alien princess. Then again, he had never expected to be standing in a dragon's palace either, so life was full of surprises. The Dracovan Empire stretched across 40 star systems, and their capital world looked like something from a fantasy book. Towering spires of crystal and stone reached toward purple skies, and actual dragons flew between them. Real, honest-to-God dragons. Some were as small as cats, others as large as jumbo jets. Owen had stopped being surprised 3 days ago when he arrived with the human diplomatic team. Now he just did his job. The job today was simple: stand in Corridor 7 Beta and make sure nobody went through the East Wing during the big summit meeting. 5 different alien species were meeting with Emperor Sarthos to discuss trade routes, and the humans were invited as observers. Earth was still new to galactic politics, only 15 years since first contact, so mostly they watched and learned. Owen checked his watch. 2 hours into his shift for more to go. The corridor was quiet, decorated with tapestries showing dragon history. He could hear distant voices from the main conference hall, but nothing else. His tactical helmet sat on a stone bench beside him while he drank water from his canteen. The palace was warm, built for creatures who breathed fire, and the helmet made his head sweat. A small chirping sound echoed down the hallway. Owen turned, water bottle halfway to his mouth. The sound came again, like a bird but deeper. He set down the canteen and picked up his helmet, ready to put it back on and investigate. Something purple and scaly rounded the corner at top speed. Owen froze. The creature was about the size of a house cat, with 4 legs, 2 small wings, and a long tail. Scales covered its body in shades of purple and silver, catching the light like gemstones. A young dragon, he realized. A hatchling. The little dragon spotted him and skidded to a stop. Large amber eyes studied Owen with curiosity. The hatchling tilted its head, then chirped again. "Hey there," Owen said softly, the way he talked to his sister's kids. "You lost, little one." The hatchling's attention shifted from Owen to the helmet in his hands. Those amber eyes went wide. Before Owen could react, the small dragon bounded forward with surprising speed. It leaped up, tiny claws finding purchase on Owen's uniform, scrambled up his chest, and dove headfirst into the helmet. Owen stumbled backward, arms windmilling for balance. The helmet was suddenly much heavier. He looked down at it, bewildered. A purple tail hung over one side, the tip twitching contentedly. Small scratching sounds came from inside as the hatchling apparently made itself comfortable. Owen said intelligently. "That's my helmet." A sleepy chirp answered him. The tail stopped twitching. Owen stood very still, unsure what to do. He couldn't exactly shake a baby dragon out of his equipment. That seemed rude, also possibly dangerous. Even baby dragons had claws and teeth. He peeked into the helmet's opening. The hatchling had curled into a ball, wedged perfectly into the dome of the helmet. Its wings were folded tight against its body, and its eyes were already closed. As Owen watched, it made a soft, rumbling sound, like a tiny engine IT was purring. The dragon was using his helmet as a nest, and it was already asleep. "Okay," Owen muttered. "This is fine. This is a totally normal Tuesday." He looked around the empty corridor, hoping for guidance. None appeared. His comm unit was clipped to his belt, but using it might wake the hatchling. His training had covered many situations, but alien baby falls asleep in your gear was not one of them. Owen made a decision. He sat down on the stone bench, carefully holding the helmet level so he wouldn't disturb its occupant. He would wait. The hatchling would wake up eventually, climb out, and toddle off to wherever baby dragons belonged. Problem solved. 15 minutes passed. The hatchling snored softly, a sound like wind over rocks. Owen's arms started to ache from holding the helmet steady. He shifted his position slightly, trying to get comfortable without jostling his unexpected passenger. That was when the alarm started. Not loud alarms, thankfully. The Dracovans were too sophisticated for blaring sirens. But a low, urgent chiming filled the palace, coming from hidden speakers in the walls. Owen's comm unit crackled to life. "All personnel, this is Chamberlain Trell. Princess Lyra is missing from the royal nursery. All sections begin immediate search protocols. The princess is approximately 2 months old, purple scales with silver markings. Last seen wearing a small collar with the royal seal. Owen looked down at the sleeping hatchling in his helmet, at the glint of silver scales mixed with purple, at the tiny collar around its neck, which he had not noticed before, made of what looked like actual gold. "Oh no," he whispered. The hatchling stirred at the sound of his voice, making a cranky chirp in its sleep. One small claw flexed, gripping the helmet's padding tighter. Owen sat frozen on the bench, holding the Emperor's missing daughter, while the entire palace mobilized to search for her. He reached slowly for his comm unit, moving with extreme care to avoid waking the princess. His finger hovered over the transmit button. The hatchling shifted again, making a distressed sound. The chirp held a note of fear, as if she sensed something was wrong, even in sleep. Owen pulled his hand back. If he called it in, guards would come running. They would be loud. They would try to grab the princess. She would wake up scared and confused in a strange place. He remembered his nephew at that age, how the kid would scream if woken suddenly from naps, how it took an hour to calm him down afterward. Was it really so different with dragons? Owen powered off his comm unit. He would wait for them to find him. It would not take long. The palace guards were thorough. They would search every corridor eventually, and this one was not exactly hidden. In the meantime, the princess could sleep safely. No harm in that. Footsteps echoed somewhere nearby, along with voices calling the princess's name. They were searching methodically, room by room. They would reach this corridor soon. Princess Lyra snored peacefully, completely unaware that her nap was causing a palace-wide emergency. Her tail twitched once, then settled. The purring sound continued, steady as a heartbeat. Owen adjusted his grip on the helmet and settled into wait. He had protected plenty of things in his career as a security officer. He supposed he could add sleeping dragon princesses to the list, even if she was drooling on his helmet's padding. "Just a few more minutes," he whispered to the hatchling. "Then we will get you home safe." The princess's only response was a contented sigh. The first person to find Owen was not a guard. It was Beth Davis, his partner from the security team, and she almost walked right past him. "Owen." Beth stopped mid-step, staring. "Why are you sitting on the floor, holding your helmet like it's made of glass?" "Shoo," Owen whispered urgently, pointing at the helmet. "She's sleeping." Beth stepped closer, confused. Then she saw the purple tail hanging out of the helmet, and her eyes went huge. "Is that what I think it is?" "Depends. If you think it's a missing princess, then yes." Beth grabbed the wall for support. "The princess, the Emperor's daughter, is sleeping in your helmet." She climbed in by herself, Owen said defensively. "I was just standing here, and she ran up and made herself at home. What was I supposed to do? Call it in immediately." Beth suggested, her voice climbing. "Owen, they're tearing the palace apart looking for her. The Emperor himself is searching." "I know, but listen." Owen carefully tilted the helmet so Beth could see inside. Princess Lyra was curled tight, her breathing slow and peaceful. "She's comfortable. She feels safe. If I call in guards and they come stomping down here, she'll wake up scared. Have you ever tried to calm down a scared toddler? She's not a toddler. She's a dragon. Same difference when it comes to naps." Owen said, "My sister has 2 kids. You never, ever wake them up suddenly. It's a disaster." Beth rubbed her face with both hands. "This is insane. You know this is insane, right?" "Completely," Owen agreed. "But I'm already here. She's already asleep, and they'll find us soon anyway. The search teams are being systematic. They'll reach this corridor in the next few minutes." As if his words had summoned them, footsteps thundered in the distance. Lots of footsteps. Beth and Owen exchanged glances. "Maybe I should go flag them down," Beth said. "Give them a heads up about the situation before they burst in here." "Good idea." Beth hurried toward the sound of approaching guards, leaving Owen alone with the princess again. He could hear Beth's voice echoing down the adjacent hallway, too far away to make out words. The footsteps stopped. A moment of silence. Then they started again, slower this time. Chamberlain Trell appeared first. He was a saurian, one of the lizard-like species that served the Dracovan Empire. Tall and thin, with green scales and gold eyes, He wore elaborate robes that marked him as high-ranking palace staff. Behind him came 4 Dracovan guards, each one large enough to fill the corridor. Trell's eyes locked onto Owen, then dropped to the helmet. His expression went through several rapid changes: relief, confusion, suspicion. "Security Officer Reed," Trell said, his voice cold and formal. "You have found Princess Lyra." "Yes, sir," Owen replied quietly. "She's sleeping. I can see that." Trell moved closer, his movements careful. "How did she come to be in your possession?" "She kind of possessed herself," Owen explained. "I was on duty here, took my helmet off for a minute, and she ran in and climbed into it. By the time I figured out what was happening, she was already asleep." One of the guards, a dragon with red scales, snorted smoke from his nostrils. "And you did not immediately report this?" "I didn't want to wake her," Owen said simply. The guards looked at each other, clearly baffled. Trell's eyes narrowed. "You expect us to believe that a human guard found the missing princess and simply sat here? You did not call for help, did not attempt to move her, nothing?" "That's exactly what I did," Owen confirmed. "Suspicious," Trell muttered. He reached toward the helmet. "Give her to me. Now." Owen pulled the helmet back instinctively, cradling it against his chest. Princess Lyra made a small distressed sound, but didn't wake. The guards raised their weapons instantly. Energy rifles charged with a high-pitched whine, all pointed at Owen. Beth jumped between them. "Hands up." "Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nobody shoot anybody. He's just trying not to jostle her. He refuses to surrender the princess," Trell said sharply. "This confirms my suspicions. Humans are not to be trusted." "I'm not refusing," Owen protested, still speaking softly despite weapons pointed at his face. "I'm just asking you to be gentle. If you grab the helmet roughly, you'll scare her." "Your concern is noted," Trell said icily, "but you are in no position to make demands." A new voice cut through the tension, deep and powerful enough to shake the walls. "What is happening here?" Everyone froze. Even the guards looked nervous. Emperor Sarthos had arrived. The Dragon Lord was massive, his scales a deep emerald green that seemed to glow in the corridor's light. His wings were folded against his back, but Owen could see they would span the entire hallway if extended. Golden eyes, ancient and intelligent, swept across the scene. Those eyes landed on Owen, then dropped to the helmet in his arms. Sarthos went very still. "Father," Trell began. "This human has—" "I can see what he has," Sarthos interrupted. His voice was quieter now, but somehow more intense. "Is she harmed?" "No, Your Majesty," Owen said, meeting the Emperor's gaze. "She's just sleeping. She seems comfortable." Sarthos moved forward, and the guard scrambled out of his way. He lowered his huge head until his face was level with the helmet. Owen could feel the heat radiating from the dragon's breath as Sarthos examined his daughter. Princess Lyra yawned, showing tiny fangs. Her tail curled tighter. She was still fast asleep. "How long has she been like this?" Sarthos asked. "About 20 minutes, sir." "And you did not wake her?" "No, sir." "Why not?" Owen thought about his answer carefully. An emperor was asking him a direct question, and guards still had weapons ready. But the truth was simple. She looked peaceful, Your Majesty. Seemed wrong to disturb her. Something changed in Sarthos's expression. The tension in his massive frame eased slightly. He studied Owen for a long moment, and Owen had the uncomfortable feeling of being read like a book. "You realize," Sarthos said slowly, "that my daughter has claimed your helmet as her nest." "Her what?" "Her nest. Her first chosen safe place." The Emperor's voice held an odd note. This is significant in Dracovan culture. Emperor Sarthos sat on the stone floor of the corridor, which was definitely not something Owen had expected to see. The massive dragon folded his legs beneath him and settled down until his head was level with Owen's. The guards looked shocked. Chamberlain Trell's mouth hung open. "Explain this nest thing," Owen said, still holding the helmet carefully. "Please, Your Majesty." Sarthos's golden eyes never left his sleeping daughter. In ancient times, when Dracovan hatchlings emerged from their eggs, they would choose their first nest within days. A place that felt safe, warm, protected. This place shaped their sense of security for life. Okay, Owen said slowly. And Lyra chose my helmet. Yes, which means she has also chosen you as her nest guardian. Owen blinked. Her what now? The one who guards a nest. Traditionally, a parent or trusted elder. Someone who would protect the hatchling while they slept. Sarthos's voice carried a weight of history. It was a sacred duty. The guardian would not leave the nest until the hatchling woke naturally and was ready to emerge. Beth made a small noise. That sounds beautiful. It was, Sarthos agreed. But modern Dracovan society abandoned such traditions centuries ago. We deemed them inefficient. Hatchlings now sleep in monitored nurseries with climate control and automated systems. Safe, sterile, efficient. The dragon's tone suggested he found none of those words comforting. We forgot that safety is not just physical. Trell had recovered enough to speak. Your Majesty, surely you don't intend to honor such an outdated custom. The human was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Was he? Sarthos tilted his head. Or did my daughter find exactly what she needed? A quiet place, a patient guardian, and instinctive protection without question. One of the guards shifted uncomfortably. My lord, the human is not qualified to do what? Sit still and let a child sleep? Sarthos's voice sharpened. He has already done exactly what was needed. More than we did, apparently, since she escaped our modern nursery to find him. Owen felt like he was watching a cultural revelation happen in real time. Your Majesty, I'm honored, but I'm just a security guard. I didn't know about any traditions. I just didn't want to wake a sleeping baby. Yes, Sarthos said softly. Exactly. You did not know the tradition, yet you honored it perfectly. You know what that tells me? That I'm good at sitting still. The Emperor's laugh was a deep rumble. That perhaps humans remember something my people have forgotten. You are new to the galaxy, not yet fully civilized by our standards. You still carry your world's old ways. Is that a compliment? Beth whispered. It is the highest compliment, Sarthos replied. The galaxy teaches efficiency, logic, progress. We all adapted, changed our ways to fit the greater community. But in doing so, many species lost something vital. He looked at Owen. Humans have not been part of galactic society long enough to lose your instincts yet. You still know, without being taught, that a sleeping child is precious. That comfort matters more than efficiency. Trell looked troubled. Your Majesty, the Council of Nobles will have opinions about this situation. A human guarding the princess, honoring traditions most Dracoans have forgotten. Let them have opinions, Sarthos interrupted. I have a question for you, Trell. Do you remember nest vigils? The Chamberlain hesitated. I have read about them in historical texts, but you never experienced one. Your generation was the first raised entirely in a new way. Sarthos turned back to Owen. My aunt is still alive. She is nearly 600 years old. She remembers the old traditions. Would you object to her presence here? Why would I object? Owen asked, confused. Because if she comes, she will expect the vigil to continue properly. That means you remain here with Lyra until she wakes naturally. No rusing, no interference. However long it takes. Owen looked down at the sleeping hatchling. She had shifted in her sleep, one claw now resting on the helmet's inner edge. She looked so peaceful, so safe. He thought about his nephew again, about how good it felt when a child trusted you enough to sleep in your presence. I can do that, he said. I mean, I'm already here. She's comfortable. Why mess with what's working? Sarthos stood, his movement fluid despite his size. Trell, send for Aunt Meridian. Tell her a human is keeping vigil over Lyra's first nest, and that I request her wisdom. The Emperor looked at his guards. Clear this corridor. Post sentries at both ends, but quietly. No one disturbs the nest guardian or the hatchling. The guards bowed and moved to follow orders. Trell looked like he wanted to argue, but he bowed as well and left to carry out his instructions. Beth knelt beside Owen. You sure about this? Could be hours. I'm sure, Owen said. Besides, when am I ever going to get another chance to be part of actual dragon history? Never, Sarthos answered, overhearing. This will be discussed for generations, Security Officer Reed. The human who reminded us of what we lost. I really just didn't want to wake her up, Owen protested. And that simple choice may change more than you know. Sarthos moved toward the corridor's exit, then paused. Owen Reed, you have my gratitude, not as an emperor to a guard, but as a father to someone who protected his child. The dragon left, his footsteps fading. Soon the corridor was quiet again, with only Beth and Owen remaining. This is the weirdest day, Beth said. Tell me about it. Owen agreed. He adjusted his sitting position, making sure the helmet stayed level. At least she's not heavy. Princess Lyra chose that moment to stretch in her sleep. Her wings extended slightly, pushing against the helmet's interior. She made a happy chirping sound, then settled again. She really does feel safe with you, Beth observed. Kids know, Owen said. They can tell when someone means them no harm. Doesn't matter if you're human or dragon. Footsteps approached from the far end of the corridor, slow and measured. An elderly dragon appeared, smaller than Sarthos, but with scales that shimmered like opals. Her eyes were ancient, knowing. She studied Owen for a long moment. So, the old dragon said, her voice like wind through caves. A human nest guardian. I never thought I would see such a thing before I died. You must be Aunt Meridian, Owen said. I am. And you, young human, are sitting vigil as our ancestors once did. She settled onto the floor across from him. Tell me, do you know what you have started? Aunt Meridian moved with the careful grace of someone very old, but still strong. She arranged herself on the floor across from Owen, her opal scales catching the light. Beth had excused herself to update the human delegation, leaving Owen alone with an ancient dragon and a sleeping princess. I started something, Owen asked. I'm just waiting for her to wake up. You're keeping vigil, Meridian corrected gently. There is a difference. Tell me, young man, why did you not immediately call for help when you found her? Owen had answered this question several times now, but he tried again. She was sleeping peacefully. Calling for help would have meant noise, people rushing in, probably scaring her. It seemed wrong. Wrong, Meridian repeated, as if tasting the word. Not inefficient. Not illogical. Wrong. When did you last hear a Dracovan use such reasoning about a hatchling's care? I don't know many Dracoans, Owen admitted. Neither do they anymore. The old dragon's laugh was sad. We changed so much to join the galactic community. We learned their ways, adopted their technologies, embraced their efficiency, and we told ourselves we were better for it. Owen watched Princess Lyra's tail twitch in her sleep. But you don't think so? I think we gained much and lost much. The question is whether the trade was worth it. Meridian's eyes grew distant. I remember my own first nest, a hollow and warm stone near the hatching caves. My father guarded it for 3 days while I slept, recovering from the exhaustion of breaking free from my egg. He told me later that those 3 days taught him patience he had never known. 3 days? Owen shifted his weight carefully. How long do nest vigils usually last? As long as they need to. Sometimes hours, sometimes days. The hatchling wakes when they are ready. Meridian's gaze returned to the present, focusing on Owen. But I can tell you that Lyra will likely wake within the hour. She has already slept longer than usual for her age. That was a relief. Owen's arms were getting tired. In the old times, Meridian continued, the nest guardian was considered blessed. To be chosen by a hatchling meant they sensed something in you. Trust, safety, strength. She paused. You are very young to have such qualities recognized by a dragon. I'm 32, Owen said. As I said, very young. Meridian's amusement was clear. I am 597 years old. To me, anyone under a century is a child. Yet here you sit, calm and patient, treating my great-great-niece with more care than her own paid nursery staff. Owen didn't know what to say to that. I have nieces and nephews back on Earth. You learn to be gentle with kids. And there it is again. The human instinct, unchanged by galactic civilization. Meridian leaned forward slightly. Do you know what happened to my people, Owen Reed? We became afraid. Afraid of what? Of seeming primitive. Of being seen as backward compared to species like the Nexari, who raise their young in educational pods from birth. Or the Quillen, who use genetic selection to ensure perfect offspring. We wanted to prove we were advanced, sophisticated, worthy of respect. Her voice grew heavy, so we abandoned the old ways. We built nurseries with every technology imaginable. We created schedules and protocols. We made hatchling care science. But something was lost, Owen said quietly. Everything that could not be measured was lost. The warmth of a parent's presence. The security of being guarded while vulnerable. The bond formed in quiet moments. Meridian looked at the sleeping princess. Lyra escaped her perfect nursery today. Do you know why? Owen shook his head. Because she was lonely. The nursery is safe, clean, temperature-controlled, and absolutely empty of anyone who cares about her as a person. The staff follow protocols. They do not sit with her. They do not guard her sleep. They monitor her. Meridian's scales rippled with emotion. She is 2 months old, and she has never known what it feels like to be truly watched over. That's terrible, Owen said, feeling a surge of protectiveness for the small dragon in his helmet. Yes, and you have given her in one afternoon what we failed to provide in her whole short life. The old dragon's eyes were bright. You sat with her. You protected her sleep. You made her feel safe. These are not small things, Owen read. These are everything. Princess Lyra stirred, making a small sound. Both Owen and Meridian went still, waiting. But the hatchling just adjusted her position and settled again, still deeply asleep. Your emperor said this would be discussed for generations, Owen said. Is it really that significant? More than you know. Sarthos is not a foolish ruler. He sees what I see, a chance to remember what we lost. If humans can keep the old ways alive, can honor traditions without even knowing they exist, then perhaps those traditions are not outdated. Perhaps they are simply true. True across species. True across cultures. Meridian's voice was firm. The young need protection. They need patience. They need someone to watch over them while they are vulnerable. This is not primitive thinking. It is fundamental truth. Owen thought about that. Back home, we have all kinds of technology too. Baby monitors, smart cribs, apps that track everything. But parents still sit with their kids, still rock them to sleep, still check on them in the night. Because you are not yet far enough from your own primitive roots to forget why those things matter, Meridian said. Give it a few centuries in galactic society. You will be offered better ways, efficient ways. You will be told that emotional attachment is illogical, that your instincts are outdated. And then we'll end up where you are, Owen finished. With children in perfect nurseries who escape to find someone who will just sit with them. Exactly. Meridian looked satisfied. You understand. Good. When Lyra wakes, she will remember this. She will remember that you stayed, that you guarded her, that you made no demands, asked for nothing, simply protected her while she was vulnerable. I'm just doing what feels right, Owen protested. Yes, Meridian said softly. That is precisely what makes it sacred. They sat in comfortable silence after that, dragon and human, watching over the sleeping princess together. Outside the corridor, the palace continued its business, but here everything was peaceful. Time moved slowly, measured only by the gentle rhythm of Lyra's breathing. Owen realized he would remember this for the rest of his life. This quiet afternoon, sitting guard over a tiny dragon who had trusted him completely without reason or hesitation. She's starting to wake, Meridian said quietly. Owen looked down. The princess's tail was moving more actively now, and her breathing had changed. As he watched, one amber eye cracked open, then the other. Princess Lyra opened her eyes slowly, blinking away sleep. She yawned, showing tiny fangs, and stretched inside the helmet. Her claws scraped gently against the padding. Then she seemed to remember where she was and poked her head up over the helmet's edge. Those big amber eyes focused on Owen's face. She chirped a questioning sound. Hey there, sleepyhead, Owen said softly. Have a good nap? Lyra's response was to scramble up out of the helmet and onto Owen's shoulder in one fluid motion. She was surprisingly light, her claws pricking through his uniform but not breaking the skin. She pressed her small head against his cheek and purred, that rumbling sound like a tiny motor. Owen froze, not sure what to do. Aunt Meridian chuckled. She likes you, the old dragon said. Congratulations, Owen read. You have been officially adopted. Adopted? Owen asked, trying not to move too much with a dragon hatchling on his shoulder. What do you mean? Nest guardians are not forgotten after the vigil ends. The bond remains. She will consider you a protector now, someone safe. Meridian stood, her movements slow but steady. This complicates things. How? Before Meridian could answer, footsteps approached. Emperor Sarthos appeared, hope and worry mixed on his massive face. When he saw Lyra awake and perched happily on Owen's shoulder, his whole body relaxed. Daughter, Sarthos said gently, lowering his head to her level. You gave us quite a scare. Lyra chirped at her father, then rubbed her head against Owen's neck again. She showed no intention of leaving her new perch. She seems comfortable, Sarthos observed, something unreadable in his voice. Very comfortable, Meridian agreed. Which presents us with a situation, nephew. The hatchling has bonded with her nest guardian. I was afraid of that, Sarthos muttered. He looked at Owen. How much do you know about dragon imprinting? Nothing, Owen admitted. Until today, I didn't know dragons were real. Sarthos sighed, a sound like wind through a cave. Dragon hatchlings form attachments to those who provide safety during vulnerable moments. It is an evolutionary trait, ensuring they recognize protectors. Normally, they imprint on parents or close family. But she imprinted on me, Owen said, understanding dawning. Because I guarded her nest. Precisely. And now she will expect you to continue being a source of safety. Sarthos looked troubled. This bond typically lasts until the hatchling reaches adolescence, which for Dracoans is approximately 10 Earth years. Owen felt his stomach drop. 10 years. You cannot be expected to remain in the palace for a decade, Sarthos said quickly. That would be unreasonable. But completely severing the bond now could be traumatic for Lyra. She has already experienced enough upheaval in her short life. What kind of upheaval? Owen asked. Sarthos and Meridian exchanged glances. The old dragon spoke first. Lyra is precious to us because she is rare. My nephew's mate died bringing her into the world. Before Lyra, there had been no royal hatchlings for 2 centuries. She is treasured, but also lonely. The other hatchlings in the palace are much older, and the staff are afraid to interact with her beyond basic care. She's isolated. Owen said, feeling a surge of sympathy. No wonder she went looking for company. And found you, Sarthos said heavily. Who treated her not as a precious artifact to be protected, but as a child who needed comfort. Now she does not want to leave you. Lyra, hearing the distress in her father's voice, made a worried sound. She pressed tighter against Owen's neck. Hey, it's okay, Owen murmured to her, instinctively reaching up to steady her. Nobody's upset with you. The gesture was so natural, so protective, that Sarthos's expression softened. You would make a good parent, Owen read. I'm just a security guard, Owen said. I don't know how to raise a dragon. Does anyone? Meridian asked pointedly. We have lost our own knowledge of proper child rearing, remember? Perhaps what Lyra needs is not someone who knows dragon traditions, but someone who understands basic kindness. Sarthos was quiet for a long moment, thinking. Finally, he spoke. I have a proposal. It may be unconventional, but these are unconventional circumstances. I'm listening, Owen said, though he had a feeling he knew where this was going. Remain in the palace as Lyra's guardian, not as a servant or staff member, but as an official position. You would spend time with her daily, provide the companionship she clearly craves, and help bridge the gap between the formal care she receives and the emotional support she needs. You want me to be your nanny, Owen said. I want you to be her friend, Sarthos corrected. Someone she can trust. Someone who will sit with her when she is scared, play with her when she is lonely, and teach her that the universe contains kindness. He paused. I can offer compensation, living quarters, whatever you need. Your duties with the human delegation would be adjusted. Owen looked at the small dragon on his shoulder. She was watching him with those huge eyes, as if she understood they were talking about her. She chirped hopefully. What does Earth's delegation say about this? Owen asked. They are enthusiastic, a new voice said. Beth stepped into the corridor with Ambassador Patricia Wells, the head of the human diplomatic team. Apparently, having a human in the royal household is unprecedented. They think it's a diplomatic coup. Ambassador Wells smiled. If you're willing, Officer Reed, you would be doing Earth a great service. Building personal connections with a royal family could strengthen human-Dracovan relations for generations. Plus, Beth added, you're good with kids, and she clearly likes you. Lyra chose that moment to lick Owen's ear with a tiny forked tongue. He couldn't help but laugh. Okay, he said, I'll do it, but I have conditions. Sarthos raised an eye ridge. Conditions? I get to keep the helmet. If it's her first nest, it should stay accessible. And I need regular communication access to Earth. My family will want to know I'm okay. Owen thought for a moment. Also, I'm going to need some books on dragon behavior. If I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. Agreed, Sarthos said immediately. Relief was evident in his voice. Thank you, Owen Reed. You have given my daughter something precious today. I just let her sleep in my helmet. Owen protested. You gave her safety, Meridian corrected. You gave her comfort. You gave her a reason to trust. These are not small gifts. Princess Lyra yawned again, showing her fangs. She curled up on Owen's shoulder, apparently ready for another nap. Her trust was absolute, her comfort complete. Owen Reed, security officer from Earth, realized his life had just changed forever. He was now the official guardian of a dragon princess. His sister was never going to believe this. 6 months passed faster than Owen expected. The palace became his home, and Princess Lyra became his constant companion. She had grown to about the size of a medium dog, though she still tried to fit into the helmet when she was tired or scared. Owen kept it in her chambers, mounted on a special stand. She would curl up inside it when she needed to feel safe. Life as a dragon's guardian was nothing like Owen imagined. He spent his days reading to Lyra from various books, teaching her games from Earth, and learning dragon customs from Meridian. The old dragon visited often, clearly pleased to see the ancient traditions being honored, even if accidentally and by a human. Emperor Sarthos stopped by regularly, and Owen noticed the dragon ruler seemed lighter somehow. Less burdened, watching his daughter play and laugh seemed to ease something in him. Today was special. Today was Lyra's naming ceremony, a formal presentation to the Dracovan court. She had been named at birth, of course, but tradition held that the first public ceremony should happen after the hatchling had chosen their first nest and bonded with their guardian. Since Dracoans had abandoned this tradition, nobody remembered it existed until Aunt Meridian pointed it out. Now the entire court was assembled in the Great Hall, curious to see the human who had become part of their royal family. Owen wore a formal dress uniform, provided by Earth's diplomatic corps. Princess Lyra perched on his shoulder, as she often did. She wore a small ceremonial collar made of gold and gems, marking her status. She kept trying to chew on it, which made Owen smile despite his nervousness. Stop that, he whispered to her. This is important. Lyra chirped and settled down, though she eyed the collar's sparkly bits with clear interest. The great hall was enormous, with a domed ceiling that showed the stars. Dragons of all sizes filled the space, along with representatives from other species. Owen spotted Beth and Ambassador Wells in the human section, both giving him encouraging waves. Chamberlain Trell stepped forward, his voice carrying through the hall. Citizens of the Dracovan Empire and honored guests, we gather today to celebrate Princess Lyra's first naming ceremony. As is tradition, her nest guardian will present her to the court. Owen walked forward, very aware of hundreds of eyes watching him. Lyra sensed his tension and nuzzled his cheek reassuringly. The gesture made him relax. Right? This was for her, not him. Emperor Sarthos sat on his throne at the far end of the hall, massive and regal. But his eyes were warm as Owen approached. Owen stopped at the base of the throne's platform and bowed. Lyra, copying him, ducked her head too. Several dragons in the audience made sounds of approval. Nest Guardian Owen Reed, Sarthos said formally, you have watched over my daughter for 6 months. You have honored traditions my own people have forgotten. You have shown patience, kindness, and dedication beyond what anyone could have asked of you. He paused, and his voice softened. You have also made her laugh every single day. For that alone, you have my eternal gratitude." Owen felt his throat tighten with emotion. "Thank you, Your Majesty. It's been an honor." "The honor is mine," Sarthos replied. He stood and descended from his throne, coming to stand before Owen and Lyra. "Before this court and these witnesses, I declare that Owen Reed of Earth has fulfilled the sacred duty of Nest Guardian. The bond between Guardian and Hatchling is recognized and honored." Aunt Meridian stepped forward from the crowd. In her claws, she carried Owen's tactical helmet, the one Lyra had first slept in. It had been cleaned and polished, mounted on a base of precious metal. "This is Princess Lyra's first nest," Meridian announced. "It will be preserved in the royal archives, a reminder that sometimes the most precious treasures are found in unexpected places." Lyra chirped excitedly, recognizing her helmet. She launched herself from Owen's shoulder and glided to the mounted helmet, landing on it possessively. She was too big to fit inside now, but she curled around it protectively, purring. The court erupted in approval, dragons humming in harmony. It was a sound like singing mountains, beautiful and strange. Owen watched Lyra with her helmet and felt his chest swell with pride. She had grown so much in 6 months. She was more confident now, more playful. She still had lonely moments, but she knew she had someone who would always be there for her. Later, after the ceremony ended and the formal parts were done, Owen found himself in Lyra's chambers. She was curled up on her sleeping platform, exhausted from all the excitement. The helmet sat on its new stand nearby, close enough that she could see it. Emperor Sarthos entered quietly. "May I join you?" "Of course, Your Majesty." The dragon settled onto the floor, making himself as small as possible in the space. He watched his daughter sleep for a moment, his expression tender. "I was terrified, you know," Sarthos said quietly, "when she went missing that day. My mate died bringing Lyra into this world. If I had lost Lyra too." He trailed off. "But you didn't," Owen said gently. "She's safe. She's healthy. She's happy. Because of you." Sarthos turned his golden eyes on Owen. "You gave her something I could not. I was so focused on keeping her physically safe that I forgot she needed more than protection. She needed connection. You're her father," Owen said. "She loves you, and she loves you too. Differently, but no less deeply." Sarthos smiled. "I used to worry that having a human so close to my daughter would be strange, wrong somehow. Now I cannot imagine it any other way. You have become family, Owen Reed." Owen felt tears prick his eyes. "Thank you. That means everything." They sat in comfortable silence, watching Lyra sleep. Outside, the palace was settling down for the night. Somewhere in the distance, dragons sang their evening songs. "I've been thinking," Sarthos said eventually, "about what you and Aunt Meridian have shown us. About the old ways we abandoned. Yes, I'm going to propose changes to the council. A return to some traditions. More emphasis on connection between parents and hatchlings. Less reliance on automated systems." Sarthos's voice was firm. "We became so focused on efficiency that we forgot what truly mattered. You reminded us." "I just let her sleep in my helmet," Owen said, repeating what had become his standard response. "You did so much more than that." Sarthos stood, preparing to leave. "You showed us that progress is not about abandoning what came before. It is about choosing wisely what to keep and what to change." After Sarthos left, Owen remained with Lyra. He pulled out his tablet and started a message to his sister back on Earth. She would want to hear about the ceremony. "Dear Rachel," he typed, "you will not believe what happened today. Remember how I told you I accidentally became a dragon's nanny? Well, today they made it official. Formal ceremony and everything. Lyra did great, barely tried to eat her ceremonial jewelry. I'm sending pictures." Lyra stirred in her sleep, making happy chirping sounds. One claw reached out instinctively toward Owen's direction, seeking reassurance. He moved closer so she could rest her claw on his hand. This was his life now. Guardian to a dragon princess, bridge between two species, keeper of traditions he had never known existed. It was strange and wonderful and occasionally terrifying. But as Lyra's breathing settled in a peaceful sleep, her claw warm in his hand, Owen knew he would not change a single thing.